Welcome to The Striking Point, a TechShop video series hitting the mark with education, training, and technology.
Hello and welcome to an all-new episode of the Striking Point podcast. I'm Nadine Battah and I'm the editor of TechShop.
And I'm Eric Garbe, a senior automotive technical writer with TechShop.
What is up, Eric?
Hey Nadine, how you doing?
Doing well. Thanks for joining me on the podcast again today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Glad to be
Joining
here.
us today is Kevin FitzPatrick, Senior Vice President at OPUS IVS.
Awesome, fantastic.
Yes, we're going to go over a little bit about what OPUS IVS is, what they do, what their mission is, and how technicians can intermix that with their everyday work.
I'm really excited to learn more about it and to talk to Kevin. I know that the remote support that they offer certainly can be a fantastic thing for technicians like myself.
Definitely. Let's get started.
All right, let's do it.
Kevin, thank you so much for joining us today. We are very much looking forward to getting the discussion started. So let's begin. Can you tell us a little bit about what OPUS IVS is so our listeners really have a good idea about what you guys offer?
Sure. We're a provider of diagnostic tools to the mechanical and collision industries. So we're providing tools that do pre and post scanning, mechanical tools, scan tools, but we're also providers of technical support. Our tools we have teams that are able to help customers diagnose vehicles on a daily basis. We're answering about 800 queries per day on the mechanical side. And as far as scanning goes, we're doing thousands of scans per day for the collision industry.
Oh, thank you, Kevin. That's awesome. It's fantastic. Kevin, when it comes to all the new advanced technologies that have been hitting the service bays over recent years, electric vehicles are really at the top of the charts right now. How much of an impact has this had on the support that you offer?
Well, a lot. We went out immediately, like I said, as soon as these things started showing up in the service bays and started impacting our customers. First of all, we got our existing teams trained up on all of the electrification that was presently out there. We've been doing a number of webinars for all of our existing customers, and we went out and hired a Tesla master technician as well. So I think it's important that all customers all shops aren't really afraid of these vehicles. I mean, they are coming. I mean, shops are seeing them. Some are seeing 3% of these vehicles. Others are seeing up to 20% now. Depending on the areas in which they live.
It's great to hear that you're training existing teams on top of hiring additional support. Based on what you see with your remote services, what are some of the primary challenges shops are facing with EV service?
Well, right now, it's a lot of it has to do with information and tooling. One of the things we as technical support providers, one of the challenges we had was getting all of these guys up on a good safety course. We didn't want to provide technical support to a shop that hasn't had a safety course. I mean, these cars, before when you're working on an internal combustion engine, getting shocked was more funny than it was dangerous, right? Now these cars, I mean, there's a tremendous amount of amperage in these vehicles. They can kill you. So, safety is a primary concern. So making sure that the shops have taken a good safety course, is really, it's of paramount importance. The technical aspect of the vehicles, learning how to fix them and becoming technically capable on them, that's secondary to the safety part.
Yeah, we have definitely seen that safety is a major concern, and a lot of shops are very apprehensive about getting into this because of that. So it's great to hear that you are really on board and taking all these steps to promote the safety of working on these vehicles. And for all the shops that are just now taking the first steps towards EV service, would you encourage the OPUS IVS resource, even for what might seem as a very basic diagnostics, as technicians begin to work on and understand these vehicles?
Yeah, well, I mean, I absolutely would. Obviously, because I'm biased to our way of doing things. I've been with the company OPUS. It's important to note that OPUS is we're a number of companies that have come together. AutoLogic, Auto Ingenuity, True Technologies, which was a leader in the J2534 market. AutoLogic, which was a leader in European vehicles. Auto Ingenuity, which is by far one of the best scan tools ever available. We're a number of companies that came together. But our tech support is by far the best in the industry. I think tech support is really important because when a technician makes a diagnosis or needs help making a diagnosis, it's really difficult for everybody to be an expert on everything today, right? There have been shops out there that have said, "Hey, I'm going to be only a European shop, or I'm just going to be an Asian shop." That's difficult. It's getting more and more difficult to specialize, just simply because when you have a customer base, they might be driving a BMW today, but tomorrow they're gonna start driving a Tesla. You don't want to lose that customer, right? So either you're going to have to go out and hire a Tesla technician, or you're going to have to train to that vehicle line. So we're seeing more and more of that. We think the technical support is an important aspect of that. Having a trained technician, having a master technician that you can kind of dial in, connect to that vehicle to aid in that diagnosis.
That's great to hear. Now, the easiest thing to think of with EVs is the absence of an internal combustion engine, but many other technology advancements are coming along with them, such as changes to climate control systems. Can you tell us about some of these newest technologies that technicians are facing and are looking to you guys for support?
Sure, the climate control is one of them, right? There's new refrigerants that are being introduced, every day. I think one of the biggest things, right, is the safety systems, right, or the ADAS, the advanced driver assistance systems, right, the quote unquote self-driving vehicle. Now there are various degrees of this, right? There are various levels that are available on all vehicles today. I think it's really, really important that they become more familiar with what gets affected when they take a bumper off a vehicle, what gets affected when they change a side view mirror on a vehicle. I mean, these are all important things. You always want to return a vehicle to a customer in an absolutely safe condition. And unfortunately, there's not always a light on the dashboard to tell you, hey, a calibration needs to be completed. You have to know, you have to understand the systems that you're affecting when you make these repairs, and I think that's a really important part. The other thing about an EV vehicle is, if you took two cars, if you took let's say you took a Tesla and you took the same size BMW, that Tesla weighs about 1,200 pounds more than that BMW. The cars are heavier. They require they eat up more tires. They require more alignment. So there's a lot more that has to do with those vehicles. They eat up suspension components more. So there will be more money to be made with those cars in terms of suspension repairs and everything else. So.
Yeah, that's great to know that as technicians that we have an opportunity for support to help us understand and learn these various systems. And also a great viewpoint that you mentioned earlier about the difficulty in being exclusive to a certain make of vehicle, and the fact that we really have to open up our the opportunities for our customers. Kevin, let's say I'm a technician and I've been doing this for years, and I've never had the need for remote services or support, but all this technology, it's really hitting me pretty hard. What might you tell people like myself and technicians to make me really realize and utilize the benefits of OPUS IVS?
Well, I think it's important because we call our support, we're a connected support offering, which means you're able to actually plug our tool into the vehicle, and our technician can actually plug into the vehicle and see the running condition of the vehicle. We can see the electronics. We can program the vehicle remotely. We can see the electronics in the vehicle remotely, so we can actually work with your technician. So really two things are going on when we're working with you. Number one, we're aiding you in the diagnosis. But the second thing that's going on is we're interfacing with your technician. There's actually a training component that's going on as well, right? So it's important if your technician is taking the time to make a diagnosis on a vehicle, and now all he wants you to do is say, you know what, I think I'm about 90% there. I want to hit the button on the tool and say request tech support. Plug into the vehicle. And now I want to talk to a Tesla technician. I want to talk to a BMW technician, a GM technician, and say, hey, this is what I've done and this is what I found. You know what I mean? Do you feel my diagnosis is sound? You will then take 10 or 15 minutes with a technician who will then go back through your diagnosis with you and say, hey, I think you've made the right call, or have you looked at this, right? And that is a really, really important thing, especially when you're talking about replacing a $1,500 module, right? Those modules you can't oftentimes put back in the box and send back. So I think it's important. It's important, number one, for peace of mind for the shop owner, and second of all, for the technician, right? Because it's a great way to learn.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Kevin. It was a pleasure talking to you today.
Great.
Thank
Thank you guys very much. Nice meeting you all. Bye now.
Nice meeting you.
Wow, that was fantastic.
That was awesome.
What'd you think?
Got some great information. Really learned a lot about what OPUS IVS does.
Absolutely.
And had some great ideas about what they can offer to technicians.
I won't lie to you, Eric. You're the expert here. I'm really just starting to get more familiar with the industry and the different clientele that we deal with. So this was a really eye-opening for me to understand more about OPUS and what they do for the technician. I thought it was great that he said that they're able to actually work remotely with their technicians and kind of be an extra guidance of tool of peace of mind, essentially, when they're making those serious decisions for their customers.
Oh, absolutely. That was really great to hear Kevin talk about that. And, from my standpoint, it can be so hard when you're out in the field and you're having to make these decisions and perform these difficult diagnostics. And to have somebody on your side that can help you out and give you some suggestions, it's great. I tell you what, it makes me want to get back into the industry.
Right. That's awesome. Well, thank you again, Eric, for joining me. And hopefully next time you can join me again.
All right. I look forward to it. Thanks,
Awesome.
Nadine.
Thanks, everyone, for watching. We'll see you again next time.